Good morning in the beautiful Galilee morning. Listen, I'm so excited. I said no more about the grains, but when the Father reveals, you've just got to go with it. So I was having a chat with someone yesterday on Facebook who had earnestly asked the question, and I mean sincerely, this person was seeking real responses and real understanding. Why would the wheat be shattering at Shavuot? Why aren't you looking for something that is first? Well, we are looking for something that is first, but I think that we've been given a clue to what we've been missing. In Leviticus 23:17, it says they're to bring out of their habitation 2 loaves. And I had explained that that means that the harvest of whatever, the first fruits or whatever, was completed, and they had brought together the pieces to form the dough. And then a friend of mine that I know had actually posted basically that same statement that it had to be a completion of the harvesting of the first fruits. It's true. You can't get to bread unless you've harvested the grains and you've gone through all the process, just like I've said before, but I'll say it again. The harvesting, which is the cutting, the threshing, which is the beating of the chaff off the grains, the winnowing, which is the separating of the grains from the chaff, then the grinding. Then you have to take the flour and you have to add water and you have to wait for it to leaven, because these were leavened wheat loaves. So it is a bit of a process. But as I was contemplating that conversation that we had yesterday, that chat, it was like, wham. Man, something slammed in my spirit and almost took my breath, because I had been asking the Father, okay, so if this is true, if we're bringing lumps of dough together to form a bread, how many lumps do we need? What was the number? There had to be a number. And he took me to Acts 1:13, when the fulfillment of Shavuot happened. He showed me that the 12 disciples were each a piece of loaf of bread, a dough, that were brought together. For we being many are one bread. That's what First Corinthians says. They were each a portion of dough come together and were filled with the Holy Spirit on Shavuot. And they were the new nation. Peter says that. Peter, the one who stood up and talked, says, we were a holy nation, a royal priesthood, to bring forth the praises of him. So that 12 disciples represented 12 portions of dough. When the original law that was given to bring your dough out of the houses of Israel was a portion of dough for each tribe of Israel to make one bread, but in 2 loaves for Shavuot. Now, it's really interesting. Pressing the Father again, do you have another pattern for me that would be similar? He gave me number 7, the dedication of the altar. If you look at number 7, you're going to see that the prince of each tribe offered for the tribes. So in other words, the tribe of Shimon brought his offering for the altar to dedicate it. Each of the 12 tribes offered their offering of dedication for the altar. And so when we put this all together, it does make such perfect sense that if the bread is coming out of the houses of the Israelites, that each tribe, the 12 tribes, would offer a dough portion for the bread of Shavuot, and which is why we have 12 disciples filled with the heaven from leaven on Shavuot that became one bread. And as we partake of the bread of Yeshua that he gave on Shavuot, we become part of that same bread ourselves. I am just so excited about the faithfulness of the Father and how he answers our questions. And I hope this little short video blesses you too. And I don't know, I'm not going to tell you what's the last video on Shavuot and the grains anymore, because I've learned my lesson. Don't say that. Say if God wills. Have a great week.